the sound of sneakers squeaking against the hardwood, the echo of the ball bouncing through the AT&T Center, and the crowd, steady, reverent, whispering the name that became synonymous with excellence, Tim Duncan. In an era of flash and noise, of trash talk and highlight reels, Duncan was silence in motion. A storm that never shouted, a legend who didn't chase the spotlight. He simply became it, through mastery. When the lights blazed brightest, his expression never changed. His face was calm, focused, almost stoic. But beneath that quiet surface was a furnace of competitive fire that burned with precision and purpose. He didn't need theatrics to announce his greatness. His game spoke in championships, in bank shots, in defense so perfect it bordered on art. He was called the Big Fundamental, a nickname that sounded dull compared to the flashier monikers of his time. Yet, in the end, fundamentals were what endured. They built dynasties. They made him a 5-time NBA champion, a 3-time Finals MVP, a 2-time League MVP, and the undisputed cornerstone of one of the greatest basketball franchises ever assembled, the San Antonio Spurs. But before the rings, before the legacy, before the quiet dominance that defined 2 decades of basketball, there was an island boy from Saint Croix whose first love wasn't basketball at all. It was swimming. A teenager who dreamed not of courts, but of Olympic pools. And when fate swept those waters away, he turned his pain into purpose. This is the story of Tim Duncan, the master of consistency, the humble destroyer, the architect of greatness built on simplicity. A man who proved that true excellence doesn't need to shout. It simply shows up, every single day. The Caribbean sun blazed high over the island of Saint Croix, where a young Timmy Duncan cut through the turquoise water like a fish. The rhythm of his strokes matched the gentle waves, his mind locked on Olympic dreams. His mother, Ione, encouraged him from the shore, always patient, always firm, always reminding him that humility was strength. His father, William, worked as a mason, teaching young Tim that greatness was built brick by brick, through quiet work no one sees. Then, one day, everything changed. Hurricane Hugo struck in 1989, tearing through the island, leveling homes, and destroying the swimming pool where Duncan trained daily. In an instant, the path he'd built toward Olympic swimming vanished beneath wreckage and debris, and when his mother passed away soon after, the pain deepened. He withdrew, uncertain, searching for a new dream. It was his older sister Tricia who first handed him a basketball, urging him to give it a try. At first, he was awkward, tall but slow, unsure of the rhythm of the game. But the discipline from years of swimming translated into something rare: patience, control, and precision. Where others rushed, Duncan analyzed. Where others boasted, he learned. By the time he joined St. Dunstan's Episcopal High School, the raw potential was undeniable. Word spread across the Caribbean about the tall, quiet boy with the steady hands. Wake Forest University came calling, and so began a transformation that would change not just his life, but the future of an NBA franchise. At Wake Forest, Coach Dave Odom quickly realized Duncan was different. He wasn't loud, didn't seek attention, didn't flinch under pressure. He asked questions that showed a deeper understanding of the game. Odom once said, "Tim didn't need to be told twice. You show him once, and he owns it." As the years passed, Duncan became a defensive wall and a scoring anchor. Opponents found him frustrating, a player who never seemed rattled, who never talked trash, who simply outplayed you possession after possession. By his senior year, he could have gone pro earlier. Many urged him to, but he stayed to finish his degree. It wasn't just about basketball. It was about principles, education, commitment. His mother's voice still echoed within him. Good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is better and your better is best. In 1997, the San Antonio Spurs, struggling after an injury-plagued season, landed the #1 pick in the NBA draft. The city buzzed with anticipation. And when David Robinson, the Spurs' superstar center, heard the name Tim Duncan called, he smiled, knowing he'd found his successor. The moment Duncan stepped onto an NBA court, it was as if he'd been there forever. No nerves, no wide-eyed rookie moments, just quiet domination. His footwork was immaculate, his timing surgical, his bank shot pure poetry. In his rookie season, he averaged 21 points and 11 rebounds, earning Rookie of the Year honors. But more importantly, he brought balance, calm, and a new identity to the Spurs. Paired with Robinson, they formed the Twin Towers, a duo that combined power and grace, intellect and instinct. 2 years later, in 1999, the Spurs made history, capturing their first-ever NBA championship. As confetti rained down, Duncan stood on the podium, Finals MVP trophy in hand, his face still serene. When reporters asked how it felt, he simply said, "It feels right." That was Tim Duncan. Understated, but unstoppable. As the years rolled on, a dynasty began to take shape. With coach Greg Popovich leading the way, the Spurs developed a culture that mirrored Duncan's own personality. Disciplined, humble, team first. Together they forged one of the greatest partnerships in sports history. Popovich, the fiery strategist, Duncan the calm enforcer. Popovich often joked, "He's the only superstar who's never been difficult for a single day." Duncan didn't demand special treatment, didn't crave the spotlight. He led by example, arriving early, leaving late, speaking softly, but playing fiercely. 2003 was his year of ascension. Robinson, nearing retirement, passed the torch. Duncan carried the Spurs on his shoulders, winning another MVP, another championship, and another Finals MVP. That postseason run was pure mastery. Fundamentals elevated to art form. Drop steps, soft touches off glass, defense that suffocated even the league's brightest stars. But greatness never comes without tests. After 2004, new rivals emerged. Kobe and Shaq in Los Angeles, the Rising Suns, the Detroit Pistons, the Mavericks. Yet through every challenge, Duncan's demeanor remained unchanged. While others reacted, he adjusted. His secret weapon was consistency, a rare ability to sustain brilliance year after year. 2005 brought another title, this time through a grueling 7-game war against the Pistons. The finals were physical, emotional, draining. Yet in the clutch moments, Duncan was steady. Game 7. Detroit's defense swarmed, every possession a battle. But Duncan's patience broke them down. Soft bank shot, perfectly timed rebound, defensive stop. The Spurs were champions again. As the years went on, a new generation of teammates rose beside him. Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, the Big Three. Different styles, one purpose. Together, they crafted basketball that was as beautiful as it was efficient. Every pass had intent, every cut had rhythm. The Spurs weren't just winning. They were teaching the league how to play the right way. Then came 2007. Cleveland Cavaliers. A young LeBron James facing his first finals test. Duncan, the veteran, took him under his wing even in battle. After sweeping the series, Duncan embraced LeBron and whispered, "This is going to be your league soon." A line that reflected his humility, his respect for the game, and his understanding of legacy. By 2013, Duncan was no longer the league's young star. But when the Spurs faced the Miami Heat's Big Three, LeBron, Wade, Bosh, he reminded the world what timelessness looked like. In Game 6, the Spurs were seconds from the title before Ray Allen's miraculous corner three ripped it away. Most teams would crumble. Duncan didn't. He returned the next season hungrier than ever. 2014 was redemption. Pure, beautiful basketball redemption. The Spurs dismantled the Heat in 5 games, their offense flowing like music. Every play was a symphony of trust, precision, and movement. Duncan, at 38, was still the anchor, still the soul of it all. When the final buzzer sounded, he hugged Popovich, eyes moist, a rare crack in his stoic armor. 5 championships, 2 MVPs, 3 Finals MVPs, 15 All-Star selections. And yet, he left the game without fanfare. No farewell tour, no grand announcement. Just a simple statement from the Spurs organization. Tim Duncan retires. In retirement, he found peace in simplicity. Cars, coaching, mentoring the next generation quietly from the shadows. He never sought to monetize his legacy. He was still that island kid from Saint Croix, still guided by humility, still teaching that greatness doesn't have to roar. If you watched him play, you learned something deeper about life. That success isn't about how loud you are, but how consistent you can be. That character outlasts talent. That quiet strength can move mountains. Tim Duncan wasn't just a basketball player. He was a mirror to what discipline, humility, and excellence can build over time. He taught that the fundamentals, when mastered, aren't boring. They're eternal. As the lights dim and the echoes of his bank shots fade into history, one truth remains. Greatness doesn't need attention. It demands respect. And as we look back on his journey, from the shores of Saint Croix to the rafters of San Antonio, let Tim Duncan's story remind us that true champions aren't made overnight. They were built through consistency, patience, and purpose. Because in a world full of noise, the quiet ones often leave the loudest legacy. This is Behind the Medal. If this story inspired you, if it reminded you of the power of perseverance, humility, and mastery, then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more untold journeys of greatness. Because every legend has a story, and every medal has a meaning.